Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, powered by Underdog. We're going to get you ready for the Phoenix Open, the WM Phoenix Open. We're going to have the entire Q&A. So if you do have questions, load them in now. But there is some late breaking news. JJ Spaun has withdrawn from the tournament. So if you have him in lineups, if you have him as a one and done, get him out right now. Yes, on the East Coast, the tournament doesn't start until like 11:30 a.m., somewhere around there. I get my time zones all mixed up with Arizona, my time zone, and the Eastern, then Central time zones. But either way, JJ Spaun is not playing. Do not play him. If you have him in, extract him from those lineups immediately. My final bets, if that's all you're here for: Cameron Young, Brooks Koepka, and Cameron Young is boosted up at coolbet.com right now to 30-1. If you hit the description, you can get your bonus and get that 30-1. If you're in Canada, outside of Ontario, I got Matty Fitz at 50-1, Pierce and Cootie 66-1 with 5 places, Straka and Matt McCarty 80-1 with 5 places, and Nikolai Højgaard 85-1 with those 5 places. Additionally, for the first round leader, we'll touch on the weather a little bit later on, but I got Keith Mitchell at 70-1, Johnny Kiefer at 75-1, then Alex Smalley at 100, and Steven Yeager at 120, both with 5 places. The first 2 without the 5 places, the second 2 with the 5 places. And on Thursday morning, we're expecting a ton of wind, but we're also expected to see a bunch of wind Thursday afternoon. So I don't know how impactful that's going to be. That's the Jot Notes version of what we're talking about today, plus your questions. Continue to load them in right now. Hell, smash the like if you're here. All right, sub to the channel, because you can't ask a question if you are not sub to Mayo Media Network. This is the Pat Mayo Experience. Now it's supposed to go to the title.
Pat Mayo Experience.
Thank you for joining me on another Wednesday evening, trying to go live every single Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Since you are such great friends of mine for being here, remember, fill that chat with good questions. If you have bad questions, leave them to yourself. Ask them to a wall. I don't want to answer your shit questions. Good questions, I'm all here for. I got all the time in the world for good questions. You think it might be a bad question? Throw it in. You might get banned for life, but hey, you might get an answer from it. But if you want to get into a draw for $250, sub to the channel. By doing that, you're in. If you sub to the free newsletter, where I've already sent out my cheat sheet, you can find that in the description. Boom, that's another ballot in that draw for the $250. But the big ones, the ones I really need you guys to do, especially on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, rate, review, check on those auto downloads as well. Rate it 5 stars. Boom, that's going to help us surge up the charts, because it's a very big week with Super Bowl, Olympics, and the WM Phoenix Open. Big week for the 3 kind of crossroads of the Pat Mayo Experience. Robin Cam will be on the show tomorrow for the best bets, and then a special guest plus Noonan and Connor, per usual, on Friday with the prop draft for the Super Bowl. The show with Custin Jeff is already out. Thank you for supporting everything as well. If you do the same thing on Spotify, that would be very, very helpful, and it would get you into the draw for that $250 prize. I'll give it away on Friday, so you got time to either live bet on the golf or simply just, I don't know, bet on the Super Bowl. Bet on the Seahawks minus 11.5 like I did at plus 230. It's going to be one of my bets when we get to the best bets, because I really do like that one. That maybe you can hedge with the Patriots money line, but more on football tomorrow. We're here to talk about WM. Once again, JJ Spaun is out. If we jump over to the rabbit hole right now, we can check out, let's see, make sure I'm on the right screen here. It's hard when you have to produce by yourself. It's much easier when someone is doing this for you. Let's see. This is in the optimizer. If you want to find the optimizer on the rabbit hole at betspertsgolf.com, you get the link down in the description, just under tools, rabbit hole. The live leaderboard is brand new, by the way. It's awesome. There's probably nothing in it right now because there is no tournament that is live. But let's see. There's no tournament that's live. Can't go back, but it has, I think, 47 separate stats. So your average strokes gained, the tee to green stuff, and then like scoring and putting from different ranges, who's missing to the right, who's missing to the left. It's really cool. Ron did an awesome job on just building that out. So in the optimizer, you can check out the projected ownership. JJ Spaun was projected. This will get updated by the morning, but at 11%. I actually had a ton of JJ Spaun. Right? In the time that I was sitting here waiting to go live and chatting with you guys, I had to go change out like 13 JJ Spaun lineups. What I did is I could see if I could get myself up to Fitz or Ben Griffin, because that's what I did if I could go up. There was one I was able to get to Siwoo and another one to Cam Young, but mainly I just kind of kept overloading on the guys that I had already. I got a bunch of Brooks, I got a bunch of Jake Knapp, and I got a bunch of Ricky Fowler. Now I have more. more because I have no JJ Spaun. I don't have any Harris English. I think I did turn a few into Morikawa lineups because I'm a sucker and played Morikawa because that's what I do. In full disclosure, DraftKings wise, as you can see, I played no Scotty, no Xander, no Hideki. I changed a lot of the Spaun into Griffin at 95, so I do have Griffin now. No Burns and no Victor Hovland, so a bit of Mav, bit of Fowler. If we go to the lineups that I have put in, let's see, the 35 build that I did, we can just check the exposures when you start bringing that up. What do I have? Actual exposure. So Fitz, Cootie, Cam Young, Chris Goddard, Brooks Koepka, Nick Taylor, Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler were my 6 highest owned guys in that run of lineups. I shrunk it down and did the build with this 10. I built 10. I didn't like it, so I went and did another one. Cam, JJ Spaun was 40% in that one, so I've swapped all of those out. I actually played Harris English in that one, Siwoo Kim, Morikawa, Bud Cauley for reasons that I don't quite know. I think I actually moved him down into Michael Brennan in a few, Cootie and Fitzpatrick. So you can see my main core for the week. And as most people know, that I play to win, although I so rarely ever win, but who really ever wins all that much? But the way that I try to play every single week, and listen, I'm not a pro at this. You want to listen to Blickle, you want to listen to Tambo when it comes to all of this, but I have found the most success when I concentrate. Does it mean I might have a big 0 in current winnings by the end of the week? Absolutely. But I'm not playing here to min cash. I'm trying to score if I'm only playing GPPs, and I am only playing GPPs. So I'm either going to get all my core through and I'm going to have 5 shots at winning and maybe 2 really good finishes, or I'm just going to get wiped out. That's how I try to play. I know not everyone wants to do that. If you want something with an ecosystem that turns itself over, I highly recommend the Pat Mayo Classic on Underdog. It's $20 to play. It's completely rake-free. It's a 6-person, 6-player draft, and it's a very flat payout. It's like my old DraftKings contest, where even if you come like in the 35th percentile, you more than double your money. It just keeps your money flowing back and forth that you can play in it every week. It is a community tournament. I got my teams in. I hope to see you in there. And hey, you can draft against me and come take all my money at the same time. So with Spaun, that 11% is just going to divvy up. I don't think it concentrates on any one person for DraftKings. And I don't think he was all that popular in the one and done anyway. So I don't think that changes all that much. Just remind yourself that he is out. So if you do have him in anywhere, just do a double check. Because sometimes, like, I didn't realize I was playing Harris English until right now when I checked. So if Harris English had WD'd, I wouldn't have looked because I would have assumed I wasn't playing Harris English. But here we are. The bets, I've went through it all. If you want to check into the newsletter, you can click on it right now. It's also up at betspertsgolf.com. The reasoning behind it, I've done the shows on it all week. I really hope I win a lot of money if Brooks wins. I've got some good numbers on Brooks this week, so he's probably going to end up missing the cut. They do actually have something at CoolBet right now. If we do check that out, if you're, again, in Canada, outside of Ontario, you can get that link down in the description. But let's see here. You can get the Cam Young boost up to 30-1 and the season-long VJ Singh. It's up to 7-1 now. That's nice. But if we just go to the main page at CoolBet, here it is. This one locks at, obviously, when the tournament starts, but it's New England Stefan Diggs over 3.5 receptions and Brooks Koepka to make the cut. So that's an alternate prop that's juiced down from 4.5 to 3.5, and then Brooks to make the cut. So you're dealing with like a minus 175 and a minus probably like 225, 250. It normally pays minus 116. It's been boosted up to plus 120 if you want to go do that. Just like Brooks and Thiegawa to both make the cut, plus 105. There's a bunch of stuff up here. You got to be in Canada, outside of Ontario, but you saw my code up there. You can go check that out. All right. That's something that we can look forward to a little bit later on. And the wind was the other thing that I wanted to talk about, because I mentioned that briefly in the cold open. Keep filling up that chat. I'm going to get to everyone's question, if they're good, here in a minute. Smash a like while you're here as well. That'd be very helpful for me and everyone out there. Let's share from windfinder.com. This direct link is in the newsletter, but this is Thursday. 45-mile-per-hour winds at 8 a.m. Those are gusts. So regular 14 up to 45. There's a lot of cloud coverage right now in Phoenix, and it seems to be screwing up, because I've looked at 5 different projection models and they're kind of all over the place, but it does say this is the most extreme with 45. It's probably not going to get up there. Here's the issue though. You'd be like, oh wow, they're going to deal with 14-mile-per-hour wind sustain with 45, 39, 35 gusts all throughout the day. Let's just stack everyone in the PM. The problem is it's not like the PM is that much easier. It's like really hard in the morning and kind of hard in the afternoon. And then when you take a scroll down to Friday, the morning looks like it's going to be pretty gusty versus the afternoon. So it probably all evens itself out. 3 of my 4 first-round leaders come from the Thursday wave, and even my other AM guy is a bit more into the AM, and it's a lot colder in the AM. Like, if we take a look, 57 degrees, 61 degrees, I don't know what the hell that means. It sounds cold American-wise, but, up to 73. It's a pretty big difference. So at elevation, too, it's going to be warmer, and it's going to be less wind in the afternoon. So if you want to take a shot on one day, that's probably the move, but there's still gusts up to 26 miles per hour. So just pointing that out, that it looks like if you wanted to do a slight lean towards PMAM, wouldn't hate that, but I don't think it's necessarily going to really do that much for you. But, in the weeks where I think that it's going to do a lot for you, sometimes it does absolutely nothing for you, and then vice versa. So maybe you just want to stack up like the super wind wave, and then there's no wind. Who knows? Sometimes when it comes into it. All right, let's get to the chat and check out your questions. Really struggling with who to pick for my one and done this week. I'm between Brooks, McNeely, Matsuyama, and Burns. I really want to go with Koepka as he's not in signature events, but has crazy risk reward. I mean, that is one and done. Attila, listen, as someone who had Mav McNeely last week, I was looking really good in the $1,000 one and done. I got all the way up into second when Mav McNeely was in second. Problem is, he didn't finish in second. He finished in 10th, and now I'm not even in the money. There's such a huge gap that basically all your picks should be risk reward. You want a guy who has a good top 5 equity, and if he comes 7th, no one really cares. That's not doing you any good. There's no difference between a miscut or a T15 in one and done. You want those guys who can challenge for the top of the leaderboard. In full disclosure, in the $1,000 one, you keep it to yourself because I want to win that $15,000 at the end. I'm using Ricky Fowler this week. I think that Ricky has a good week. I don't think anyone else is going to use him, so I'm using Ricky. Brooks is one of my picks in the $250 race for the Mayo Cup. He's one of the 4 picks that I have because I think that he has substantial upside. I bet on him. If I think that he can win this tournament and I put my money behind that, of course I'm going to use him in the one and done. That's the way that I like to play these things. So for me and yours, I would use Koepka this week. If you really don't feel Koepka, probably McNeely. Cust is using not Fitzpatrick. He's using Matsuyama. And I'm actually kind of on a team fade Matsuyama, which means he probably ends up winning. But there's such a stark difference between this version of Matsuyama and the Matsuyama who won back-to-back here 8 years ago at this point. Dude can't drive the ball anymore. He is below the field average in distance and accuracy when he was awesome. And listen, he can always overcome it because he can go like mental on the greens, and his approach play can be, because he's such a good attacker of the pin, he can make birdies in bunches if he does get that driving rolling and the putter heats up. But let's just say he's top 15 this week. He's 15th in the field in approach, and he's 30th in putting. He'll make the cut. But if he's well below in driving, he's not going to have a chance versus some of these other guys. So that's why I'm off of Matsuyama, if you were wondering. How much are you considering the weather wave? Just went over that. Tom Kim, that's a play. That's not a fucking question. The third comment in, and this is what we're doing. Banned for life out of the chat. Reset. With not much of a sample size, Scotty being priced like this, does that make his ownership volatile? I could see it being anywhere from 15 to 30. Right now, we have him projected at 26%. I believe Blickle sent me over his stuff from FTN. I think he had him at like 24.9%. So if there's 2 sources right around there, I think it is volatile. I wrote about this in the newsletter that I don't think it gets lower than that. I think the lowest you'll probably see is like 22%. But I could see it still being like 40% at the same time, too. The issue is if you use Scotty, and Alex and I talked about this on the DraftKings show, if you want a visualization, we were building those lineups, is that it leaves you with $7,100 left for 5 guys. And that means Sam Stevens, I can just tell you the guys that I wrote about them like 3 hours ago. So I'll just bring them up on the screen so you can see the ones that I kind of pinpointed here as where I think everything's going to go. Again, this is all free, by the way, in the Mayo Media newsletter. And if you sub to it for free right now, you get in that draw for money. Now, this is the ownership projections overall. So 26.7% for Scheffler, 20% for Siwoo, Goddard up at 19.6%, Cam Young, Ben Griffin, Hideki, and Xander. And obviously that 11% from JJ Spaun is going to get distributed. But if you have around $7,100, that's what you have for 5 guys if you take Scheffler. These are the guys that are going to be paired with Scheffler the most often. Stevens, number 1 with a bullet because he's $7,200. He's going to be right there. Meisner is seeing inflated ownership because of Scotty. Then you're going to go to get Mitchell, because he's a little bit more expensive. Akshay's a little bit less. And then Rasmus, Niergaard, Peterson. Like Scotty with those 5 guys, I don't know if that exactly fits, but expect like 3 of those guys to populate a lot of Scotty lineups this week. So just keep that in mind if you're building around Scotty. But I do think that there is a sense of especially this week with Super Bowl going on and so many casual people likely playing golf for the first time this year. They think in their minds, with good reason, hey, Scotty Scheffler wins every single tournament. I got to use Scotty. So if we think like regular people are going to use him a quarter of the time, 25%, but then you inject this brand new wave of people who are playing golf, they're just going to use Scheffler and go upon their day. You can make some really nice lineups if you just start with Siwoo, or if you start with Cam Young, you can make some solid lineups. If you start with Ricky Fowler or Ben Griffin, you can make some even more devastating 6-man, like full force lineups. And I guess the other part of it too is we don't have the sample of what it looks like with Scotty. And even at the American Express, as it was pointed out, that some non-Scotty lineups were pretty close to winning and did take down some of these tournaments, even though Scotty ended up winning, because at his price point, you need to be so right with 5 random goobers. And there's so many guys down there that you need to get the perfect combination of 5. Someone will probably do that in the $25 and the $5 because there's so many lineups. When you're thinking single entry, or even that $55 one that I like right now, or the $100, any of the 3 maxes, it's going to be very difficult to have the right Scotty combination if Scotty ends up winning. That's why it's probably just easier to. I'm not playing Scotty outside of the lineups that I built with Blickle on the show, but I just think it's easier to get to the top if you don't have him in your lineups, even if he wins. That's kind of the crazy part about it. It's just everyone else behind him would have to fail. Let's envision a scenario where Scotty wins, Cam Young's in second, Brooks is in third, Cootie's in fourth. It's just you don't have second, third, and fourth if you have Scotty, because you literally can't fit them into your lineups. Now, if you just have the other 3, which they're pretty highly owned, and you get the other right 3 to go along with them, and you're not scumming in the $6,000 range like you would have to do with Scotty, and you wouldn't have to do with those 3, it's just easier to get to the top. And God forbid Scotty doesn't win. Like, Scotty's not sniffing the optimal lineup if he doesn't win this week, unless the next 10 guys on the DraftKings board below him all miss the cut, which it kind of happened last week. It's probably not going to happen 2 weeks in a row at a course that shows a lot of course history. It's Military Me asks, any thoughts on Kanaya? My thought is that you just mentioned him, and that's the first I thought about him this week. I like him at shorter courses, just pinpoint accuracy type courses. That's where I like my Kanaya. Like when I was on him when he came second at the Butterfield Bermuda. He's going to be good at Sony. If he was in Pebble, I would like him at Pebble next week. Where else? Maybe Valspar, probably not going to be in Heritage. Maybe Valero, Colonial for sure, Wyndham Championship, those type of courses is where I would want to play him. I'm using Berger as my one and done. Thanks. Didn't ask you. How popular does someone have to be to become a bad one and done pick? I think there's a few factors. Listen, if someone wins, they're probably not a bad one and done pick unless they're Scotty Scheffler in this specific tournament, mainly because you can use Scotty. Scotty wins so often that you don't want to use him at an event that doesn't pay $5 million for first prize. You got the one that pays 1.7. That's great. You get $1.7 million. You could pick Scotty and he could come second at Bay Hill in 3 weeks' time, or hell, he comes second next week at Pebble Beach and he still makes more money than you just got for the win. So think about that when you try to use Scheffler. I don't really know, honestly. I don't think that there's enough research behind it. I haven't put my time to think about it all that much, but I'd say if someone's burgeoning on like 20%, then I think all of a sudden they become a bad one and done pick just because the probability of them winning is so low. Like, let me check it up right now. Of our simulations over at BetSports Golf, let's see, the custom matchup page is actually pretty cool. If you're looking for head-to-heads or 3 balls, it gives you a pretty sweet simulation. But we'll just see the win percentage. Like, we're a lot lower on Scotty's win percentage than Blickle was. Blickle had him at 25%. We got him at 18%. But even let's say you had a 20% Xander in the field. He's second in this model, and he is 3.8% to win. Now, that's not very good. So if he only wins 4% of the time, that if you just use Cam Young instead, if you weren't thinking about saving these guys later on, like the win equity isn't all that much lower. It's 1.5 lower. It's only 2.5%. But if one comes in, Cam Young's a bad example because a lot of people are going to use him. But if you just found someone that no one was going to use, like JJ Spaun before the withdraw, no one was really using him. He was 5th in win probability odds this week, and he would have been 1%. Like, that's an exchange that I am willing to make in the one and done if someone was like 15 to 25%. And like using just the generic guy that everyone is using is usually a bad idea. Like, for example, Thigala this week. I think he's going to be popular in the one and done. That doesn't mean he's not going to win or come inside the top 5, But chances are he's not going to do that. Jason Day was the perfect example last week. Coming off a hot week, good course history at Torrey Pines, a guy that really hasn't been all that consistent or good in 4 years, but 22% of the field is going to use him. Yeah, that guy's an easy fade. For me, I don't know what the projection is on Thigala this week. Let's say it is 15%. It's an easy fade for me. There's so many guys just in his range who are 0% that you can just use instead, that I don't like glomming onto that level of player as a popular pick. Like Hideki is going to be super popular this week. I'm not using Hideki, but I understand this is a great spot to use him. And because Thigala is building up so much steam that maybe he doesn't end up getting that low. How do you think Berger will do this week? Fine. He never really, he's not someone I'm actively avoiding, but he's not someone that I was actively targeting at the same time. He was second here last year. I like Berger's outlook for the rest of the season. This could be a really nice course for him because he's so accurate off the tee, but he has been less accurate so far this season. So that's interesting. The big thing with Berger here is that you really need to have a good short game, something that Berger used to have in spades and has been absolute dog shit for 8 months around the greens. It's like he has the yips. Maybe that is coming back a little bit. That would be nice to see, but at a course that puts so much stress on that part of your game, I can see that not being optimal for someone struggling with their chipping at the moment. Hey, Pat, big fan of the show. Now you're banned for life because you already told me your pick that I didn't want to hear. But was wondering, where do you see the was wondering here, who do you see as the 3 most popular one and done picks? Sahith, Hideki, and someone else. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't really think about it that much. I think about it in terms of, are these guys obviously going to be highly owned or not? Like Matt McNeely is probably going to be a pretty high pick this week. Coming off a good week. People like him here. Boom. He's probably going to be in. Any traction on a golf betting simulcast in the future? For me, no, not as of right now. I'm still having my discussions with the Golf Channel, but they don't want to. They want to be into gambling, but they don't want to be into gambling. So I see what they're doing they did this last year. Here's the thing that they don't understand about golf betting and golf bettors. You don't need a broadcast of a bunch of jamokes who don't bet sitting there pretending to make bets on a single hole. Is the guy going to hit the green on number 16? No one bets that way. Like they think that people bet that way because betting companies tell them micro betting is the wave of the future, which I have heard for the past 10 years. Micro betting, some people do it, most people don't. You know what a better gambling cast would be? Do it in conjunction with one of the DFS companies and just gear your broadcast around the guys that people have bet on. That is the better way to do it. Like I think it was Coolbet, actually. Shout out to my guys at Coolbet. Honest to God, if you're in Canada outside of Ontario, use Coolbet. The odds are awesome. They pay out so fast, and you can get a bonus if you just hit the description right now. But they sent me something earlier. Where are we at? It was the handle on the people that are the most bet on this week. And it has a big me influence because a lot of people who bet golf on Coolbet watch this show because, I tell people about Coolbet and they're not the most huge site in the world. However, if we take a look at this right now, so these are the most bet on guys, and DraftKings will do this, FanDuel will do this, whoever, right now. Brooks, Cam Young, Pearson Coody, Seb Straka, Matt McCarty are the five guys that I have bet on this week. Coincidentally enough, 20% of the money is on Brooks this week as well. But I mean, you could use Golf Tips Checker. I mean, that's a great reference site if you're looking at guys. But just to hold off on that on a sec, if I was constructing a broadcast for betting, yeah, you can go in hole to hole. I think having a designated hole where you talk about those guys in advance, but you don't need to sit there and be like, oh, is he going to chip this to 5 feet? No one's betting on that. No one cares. And then it's just action of people trying to fill time until there's another shot hit. What you should do, be like, oh, 20% of the money this week in the betting market is on Brooks Koepka. Let's show a lot of Brooks Koepka. Not that they won't, but like Matt McCarty, for example. Like, are they really going to show a bunch of Matt McCarty or Pearson Coody or Seb Straka? No. But if they were in the top 5 of most bet on golfers this week, that sounds like a pretty good idea in order to do that. Let's check out Golf Tips Checker for the week and see what he's up to. We'll share that tab. All right, so Straka, and a lot of people, let's see, he has Straka listed at 50-1, just like 66-1. Most of the Straka bets came in at 80 and 90-1 on Monday. That's when I bet it at 80-1. I got my 5 places, and then the number crashed a lot throughout the course of the week. That's why Straka is number 1. Novak, McNeely, like beyond showing Scotty and Brooks and Spieth and the guys that you're going to show anyway, using this information, Straka, Novak, McNeely, Nick Taylor, Cam Young, Thigala, and Berger. Well, those are the top 7 guys who are being tipped in the sports betting market this week. You could get a partnership with one of the sports books for them to give you their handle, their information on that after lock happens, and start gearing a broadcast around that. Sam Stevens, a super popular DFS pick this week. He'll be like 16% owned. Hey, maybe we should show some shots of Sam Stevens. That has always been my pitch and my approach to a gambling podcast or gambling simulcast feed. Like, are you really going to sit there and watch guys make 84 bets over the course of 3 hours? No one wants to watch that. That's a horrible, horrible broadcast. But if you actually had something to talk about while we're watching the guys that we already have money on, the majority of people have money on, now that all of a sudden makes more sense. That, and then you sell off the digital rights to one of the sports books that you partner with to have that par 3 hole on every course, and you offer up all of the groups that are coming through. And then when they're on the tee, you could do closest to the pin, you could do hole in one, you could do whatever, birdie, par, bogey. You watch them hit their tee shots, and that's like a separate feed, and you talk about it. Then they hit their shots for the 1 minute. Then you go back to, you don't watch them walk up to the fucking hole. No one wants to watch that. People want to see shots and they want to see their guys. Anyway, that is my quick rant on where I think that the future of the sports betting broadcast should be. I got to catch my breath, so watch an ad, all right? And at the end of this first ad, load in more questions. Got tons of time here. But this first ad that I'm putting out here for like the dick powder is top-notch read. Enjoy. Here's the thing. Endurance athletes never talk about this, but heavy lifting and training can quietly wreck sexual performance. Long cardio, high cholesterol, bad sleep, under recovery, it all hits the same systems that control blood flow and hormones, and when circulation drops, performance drops everywhere. Most guys reach for stimulants or prescriptions, but that's a blunt fix way downstream. Nitric oxide is the master switch for blood flow, endurance, and longevity. Once you understand that, Joy Mode makes total sense. If you want to support sexual performance the same way you should support training and recovery naturally and intelligently, Joy Mode has got a deal for my listeners. Go to tryjoymode.com/Mayo or enter Mayo at checkout for 20% off. Joy Mode, the electrolyte packet for your dick. Underdog's expanding the game. You already know their player picks. Pick higher or lower on player stats. Today, Underdog prediction markets are live in 25 states. Back your squad with spreads, handicap for closer game, or totals, higher or lower combined score, combined with player picks for bigger payouts. New customers play $5 on fantasy, get $75 in fantasy bonus entries. Code Mayo. Team picks, player picks, all on Underdog. Cash App just released a new status program for the way that people actually spend Cash App Green. It unlocks new ways for you to pay, get rewarded, and easily grow or manage your money on your terms. Now, when you spend at least $500 a month with the Cash App or Cash App Pay, you earn green status, which unlocks benefits like up to $200 of free overdraft coverage, higher borrow limits, and custom personalized cashback offers every Friday at places you love to shop. Turn everyday spending into status with Cash App Green. Download Cash App today or visit cash.app/new to learn more about this and other great features launching now. For a limited time, new Cash App customers can earn $10 if they use code CASHAPP10 in their profile at sign up and send $5 to a friend within 14 days. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank. Member FDIC. Cash App Green overdraft coverage, borrow, cashback offers, and promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. We are back, and the question is about Rioatune. Does he have a decent performance in him, like a top 20 or better? Let's take a look at how old Rio has been doing. Obviously, he had a very good week playing in the final group with Justin Rose. He finished well back. That was a pretty across-the-board great week. He finally putted. That's something that he doesn't normally do. We see him at the other Tom Weisakoff design, the Bank of Utah Championship at the Black Desert. Lost on approach there. Did gain off the tee. We can look at these by average or by total. Lost a ton putting. He just doesn't gain a lot on the greens all that often. He did gain last year in Phoenix, but lost on approach and around the green, which is still not good. So his overall player profile, well, getting better, starting to gain a ton off the tee. Not a ton, but like a lot off the tee, gaining it each and every week. This is one of his better approach weeks ever last week. So the Wyndham Championship, Mexico, Myrtle Beach, PGA Championship. In these smaller, weaker fields, he tends to do a little bit better. So maybe this could be a decent spot for him. Black Desert 2 years ago, he actually played really well and gained on the greens there. So yeah, maybe there is something to Rioatune. I didn't really think about him all that much as we were going through. Now that I've looked at some of these numbers, don't hate that all that much. So you might be onto it. So yeah, top 20 might be a play on Rioatune this week if you want to go do it. Any reason you're lower on Hideki this week besides what I said? Yes. I don't want to repeat it. Who's the hottest good golf? I have never seen good, so I have no idea. Eamon Lynch just posted Brooks is using a new putter. Does that make a difference? It can only help. I'll tell you that much on Brooks's putting. So anything that he wants to do, boom. My report from the course today said that Brooks was just draining everything. So that means he'll probably miss everything when the tournament actually starts. But he literally, I don't think, can be worse than he was a week ago. And he's never not lost strokes in a tournament at Phoenix in his career. 5 starts, gained all 5 times. Plus, he has 2 wins and a top 3 performance in those 5 years. Do you think that Marco Penge can get a big advantage with his distance, or is this a course negated by water and penalties? If he hits it straight, yeah, it'd be a huge advantage. I just don't know where the rest of his game is at right now. I do, and Alex and I kind of talked about Penge a little bit, that we want to be there before it happens. Just doesn't seem what's going to happen right now. New tour in a new country. He's not getting into any of the Florida country clubs. He's been rejected from that. He had a mystery illness for like 6 weeks and didn't play. He's using new clubs. There's a lot of reasons to be against Marco Penge at the moment. I think he's talented enough to throw all those away and really contend this week. That'd be cool because I really like Marco Penge, but my money is not going to be there this week. These Pat live shows, seeing him read dumbass questions and going on a rant is a must-see event. Listen, the only people who don't like the rants and me getting mad are the people getting yelled at. I'm pretty convinced half of them are troll questions, get me riled up anyway. Either way, it's entertainment for you. And it's good for me to let out some steam. I can't yell at my kids. That'd be mean. They frustrate me. I got a lot of frustrations. I take it out on cuss and I take it out on stupid questions in the chat, and I'm even keeled the rest of the day. Is this a bomber's paradise, or do you prefer driving accuracy over distance? I mean, you're ideally looking for the combination of both. More distance will make these holes easier. You can turn a lot of these holes into a wedge fest if you can hit it long and straight. Simply just being straight, you're going to get longer irons. You're going to get into that 150 to 200, mainly 175 to 200 bucket, which is not ideal when you can start hitting it. Why do you think that Justin Thomas goes on these crazy streaks at these courses over the years? So I think he made 8 birdies in a row at one point here in time. And you see some of these low scores because guys will just mash it off the tee. If they can find the short grass, they're like 120 away and they start going pin seeking, especially on these par 5s, like short and straight. You might not be able to get a decent enough shot to get there and have a legitimate eagle opportunity. Long and straight, you have more than ample opportunity to do that. So I would be leaning bombers, but strokes gained off the tee in general, like where Siwoo is just hitting so many fairways and he's such a good iron player, that's kind of the stack that you want. That if they're going to be just pure accuracy, they're not good with their long irons, then I want no part of them. But Siwoo's an exception to that because he's so good at both. He's so good at accuracy and long irons. If not, I've really loaded up on the Cam Youngs and the Goddard's. I mean, Scheffler is the ultimate example of this, but he's just too damned expensive to use this week for me. Pat, without each way, what would be your staking approach across outrights versus top 5? You think that I have a real approach to this? I don't. I just bet what I want to bet. I have no real strategy. I just hey, I like that guy. I'll bet it. I don't really bet a lot of top 5s or top 10s. The each ways do save my ass, and I usually use them on anyone above 50 to 1, but that's really all that I did. And Unreal, how did you, Cust, and Jeff link up? Unreal combo. I feel like I've told this story 3,000 times on the show. Met Cust in college. He's my best friend, so that's easy. He was the best man at my wedding. And the first day that I worked at the Fantasy Sports Network, I had a crazy person sit down next to me, and his name was Jeff Feinberg, and we've been friends ever since. And then Jeff met Tim through me doing a show with Tim independently, in the office where Tim would be on the line and Jeff would do a show with me in the office, the same show that we still do for the golf show. And then Tim came in a few times. He made friends with Jeff. We all got along and it worked out fine. This guy's asking too many one and done questions. I don't care. What's up, fellas? Don't care. Goddard or Mav in one and done? I prefer Goddard this week. First year in one and done using Mav. That's great news. Is it dumb to use Scotty in one and done? Yes, I've already covered that. Don't know if it's been asked yet, but on DK, the first round leader odds are better. The first round leader odds are better in the non-Scotty market than they are in the normal first round leader market. Am I missing something? I don't know. I don't have access to DK Sportsbook where I'm at, so I rarely look at it. I suppose I can do that. If that's actually the case, then yeah, obviously you got to do that. If that's the place that you want to go to, let's see here. Just make sure that you're looking at the right market. Sometimes these are not labeled correctly. Let's see. I'm sure that Underdog and Coolbet are like super fucking fired up that I'm on DraftKings right now. But hey, you got a question in the chat for it. I'm going to try to answer it. I don't even know where to be looking for this. Tournament, hole in one, winning margin. Where the fuck is first round leader? Outrights, top 20 without, winner without, double, triple chance. Where the fuck is this? By round? Is that where it's going to be? Yeah, that would probably actually make sense now, wouldn't it? Leader, end of round one. Okay. Round leader without, end of round leader without Scotty Scheffler. So with Scotty Scheffler, Xander is 30-1. Without Scotty Scheffler, he is, this is stupid. It is absolutely good catch. This is absolutely what you want to be doing for first round leader. That's nuts. I wonder if they'd let you parlay together Xander as for anyone who's first round leader with Scotty first round. Would they let you do that? No, unfortunately, your picks cannot be parlay. That'd be the ultimate. See if you can go the just pure forecast. But yes, if you are playing end of round leader, you should be doing that in the without Scotty Scheffler market. This is what Jeff and I were talking about when you say that I don't think that you should be betting in the non-Scotty market. When Alex and I walked through it, it didn't seem like it was the best statistical advantage to do that. However, we did point out that they're slow and sometimes they make mistakes in the non-Scotty market. This is an example of that mistakes. Shout out to you, Kizzle Dizzle 416. Boom. In Toronto, using it. I'm guessing the 416. My area code is still 416. I don't even live in Toronto anymore. Kept the number, though. That's a very valuable piece of area code there because I think all the 416s are gone at this point. They make it get some other goober one that no one knows. Pat, love the new dick ad. Pure comedy. It's great. Great. Get some dick powder in your life. Get yourself revved to go. Do you think playing TGL in the same week affects a player? I don't know. I don't care. One and done. Siwoo, Knapp, or Brooks. I'm using Siwoo in the 3-man that I'm doing with Jeff and Tim. So if it's a smaller, use Siwoo. If it's larger, I would use Brooks, Knapp, then Siwoo. Brooks is 39-1 with full field and 79-1 without Scotty as an example. Yeah, like that's craziness. But yes, absolutely. Would you cut a piece of it? Would you cut your piece off if it meant winning FSWA? No, FSWA Golf Writer of the Year. Been nominated for that award 13 times. I think I have the award behind me somewhere. No one has more of these fucking things in the world than I do. I didn't even get my last 4. I think I've won 12 of them at this point. I'm good. Someone else can win. Let Blickle win. What's this one for? Pat Mayo, DFS Writer of the Year. Pat Mayo, 2012. That's how old I am. Best football series in the planet. This one, DFS Writer of the Year. I used to win DFS Writer of the Year all the time. I don't even get nominated for that anymore. But, I think it's like 34 career nominations now. That it's nice. One day they'll put me into the Hall of Fame instead of just giving it to people who haven't done as much as me. But hey, when you're out on your own and you're not with a major platform, this is the stuff that you have to do. It's always nice to be recognized, though. So I would like to, listen, anytime I'm up for one of these awards, I want to win. But, it's not the end of the world if you lose. It's not like you win money if you win. You get one of these awards. Sometimes you don't even get one. Are you in on Morikawa on DK at all? I am. I brought up my exposures earlier. I am using Morikawa on DK. I don't have him as much as Cootie or Young or even Ricky, but I'll fuck up. Let me go in and look. Actually, I'll pull it up on my app. That's probably easier. I can tell you exactly how much of Morikawa that I use this week. If the draft app loads, upcoming lineups, view my player exposure. Colin Morikawa, 24% Colin Morikawa. I do not have him in any of my higher stakes lineups, though. I did want to get that crazy with the entire thing. Will your model be added to the rabbit hole tonight? I mean, it's up on the rabbit hole already. I put it up on Sunday. You see, look, if you just go to the rabbit hole and you go underneath expert models. Bloop, 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 bloop. Let's see. Ron's got one up there. They see V1. Batman. That's the one that I'm putting up there. Keith and I didn't make one this week, so this is the one that I'm sticking with. I actually really liked it. See, Scheffler, Cootie, Brennan, Knapp, Kitayama, Haotong, all guys that I used on DraftKings except for Scotty Scheffler. Siwoo, didn't use a lot of Thorbjornsen. Maybe I should have. Mitchell Young, I had Spaun, but now he's out. Griffin, Fowler, Nikolai, Goddard, using all these guys. Didn't use Hoey either. So out of all of my top 17 guys in the model that I constructed, I ended up using, 14 of the 17. So maybe that should be a better approach. See, it's Page, hands down. I know the fuck that is. Go have your own goddamn side conversation somewhere else. First line leader with Brooks, 74 without Scotty, 34. Yeah, it's fine. We already went over that. I got Sam Burns in the Mayo Cup. Who you got? Already been over that. I know Jeff likes Davis Thompson. It seems like he's driving very well on approach, but it's such a bad putting week. If he putts average, do you think he can contend? Yeah, probably. Don't know why. Listen, if the tee to green stays up, Davis Thompson can be a winner. It's just he melts under pressure, which means this main reason I just don't like him here. Every time that I've seen him in contention outside of the John Deere Classic, vividly last year at the Genesis, like he got a sniff of the lead and immediately melted down. This happened with him a few years ago at Amex too, when it was him and Rom. And I had money on Davis Thompson. That was fun. It just melted coming home. Water ball on 17. Good times. That I don't know if he's going to be able to withstand the pressure coming down the stretch here. Some guys can, some guys can't, some guys can't until they can. And maybe Davis Thompson can be one of those guys, but I will be late to that party. I play only single entry, and obviously the question is, Scotty, is it fun? Is it dumb to fade him in single entry? I don't think so, no. I think it's probably dumber to fade him in mass multi-entry if you're playing a ton of lineups than it would be in a 3-max or single entry, honestly. Just want to say, love the new show with you and Keith. Truly something awesome about the banter. Been listening every week since you called Sergio to win the Masters. I didn't call Sergio to win the Masters. I called Willett to win the Masters, and I missed Sergio. I had Rose to win the Masters, and he lost to Sergio in the playoff. But thank you for watching for over a decade. It's very nice. Smash the like while you're here. If you've never left a rating and review on Apple or Spotify, now's the time to do that. And subscribe. Even if you don't listen to the audio podcast, help me, give me the fucking free download. It really goes a long way to help keeping the show free over time and more content like cool stuff with Keith. I love talking to Keith. He has such a unique perspective. Most of us in this space are like all kind of the same. Some of us are a bit more bombastic and stupid. Other people are boring and smart. It depends on who you want to watch. Mixing those two together. But Keith kind of stands alone. He loves betting. He's a PGA Tour professional. He's been around this guy. He's been around these guys for ages. He used to practice with Tiger. He's inside the ropes. He knows the players. His brand of insight, getting that out of him is so cool. I just feel like he provides such a different perspective than most people that it's been really fun to do the shows with him. I'm really looking forward to, maybe we go to the PGA Championship together this year and do shows live from there. That would be really cool. And I know that he's been working with Golf Channel too. So hopefully him and I mean, in full disclosure, the show that we're doing right now is kind of a pilot for a show that we're kind of pitching to Golf Channel that, if you're watching on Golf Channel, a more highly produced show with Keith and I could be absolutely fire on that network. You got a bunch of fucking old stodgy people on the network. I promise not to swear, or you can beat me if it's not live. It's fine. But bringing like our energy to Golf Channel, oh man, would they hate it, but it'd be awesome. I think it would get some new viewers. What's your ball of choice, Mr. Long Drive? I'm playing, I get, Underdog to send me a huge carton of Pro Vs with the Underdog logo on it every year. So the Pro VX, and I got like 5,000 of them. It's awesome. I just hit into the woods, keep on walking, drop down there. Thoughts on Hovland this week? Good course fit, low ownership. Never really like Hovland all that much at a place like this. He can't chip. And again, I'm actively avoiding guys that are terrible around the greens. He fits that bill. The show with Keith has become my favorite. Don't miss it. Good stuff. Hey, thanks. I mean, I'm always still prone. We're still at the part of the year where Jeff is still like not paying attention to anything and doing no prep. He'll get into it in like 2 weeks' time. And then the Monday show will be firing on all cylinders. Although I thought it's been pretty funny so far this year anyway. But when Jeff really starts digging in, starts having like really concrete opinions, boom, we're going to be off to the races. Smash the like while you're here. If you have a question, I'll put it on a 30-second timer because I am through all the questions at the moment. Once again, JJ Spaun has WD'd. If you're just tuning in now, get him out of lineups. My bets are in the newsletter. They're listed in cheat sheet form. If you sub to the Mayo Media newsletter, it's free. It goes to your inbox and gives you everything that I talk about in these long form shows in a 5-minute read. Now, it's not that I don't want you to not listen to the podcast or watch the shows. Do those anyway. But if you're pressed for time, that's the spot where you're going to find everything that I put out, plus extra information. Because I actually found the broadcast shot link notes this week as well. So that is something that we can get going on. All right. that's going to do it for me. I should probably go shovel my driveway because I just saw that snowing out. Something to do before it freezes overnight. Don't want that to happen. Getting a few more. See if when Wednesdays are like my off day. That's the only thing I do on Wednesdays besides writing. So I try to really keep it calm. I get up with my kids and then I go back to sleep for an hour. I went for a massage today. I went to the simulator today, laid down for a little bit more. It was fantastic. Most people's Saturdays are my Wednesdays. And then I come on and I feel good and I do this stuff and have the live chat with you guys. And it puts me in a better headspace, but I don't get the most exercise on a Wednesday evening. So I've only burned 610 calories today. So I could probably get back up to 700. My average is right around like 900 a day. I only have, what is this? Steps wise, I had 8,900 steps. Yeah, I can crack 12,000 shovel in the driveway. Why not? That's what I'm going to be doing. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Again, if you got Spaun, get them out of there. And you can use betspertsgolf.com to get yourself an update when everything does update. The Fantasy National lineup generator, I believe, should be fixed by next week. What they're doing, in case you're wondering, is that everything from Fantasy National is going to migrate over to the rabbit hole at the end of the year. So they need to recode everything on Fantasy National in order to make it active as the site stay the same and then bring it over. I love that. Like using the optimizer is difficult for me because I never really use it because I've used the Fantasy National lineup generator for so long and I love it. I'm making sure that's not going away. That and the mixed condition model should be back up and running next week at Fantasy National. If the devs aren't lying to me, the devs are in India, so maybe they are lying to me. Maybe they're in the future, so I would think they would know if they have it done or not. I don't know. Will there be a UFC Dogger Pass this week? Didn't it already come out? Thought it already came out. Let's see. Yeah, it's already out. Nice work. Seems like you really looked for it. That it's on the channel right now. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone.